Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at the much loved and much hated Spit-14. The Spit-14 is going to be the last Spitfire that you can unlock in the line at Tier 8, and this fighter aircraft sports really good turn time, very good guns with these four 20mm cannons, which are favored by most pilots due to their consistent damage, good range, and decent accuracy, which allows you to be able to take out aircraft that are just outside the reach of what machine guns would typically struggle to hit. On top of that, this aircraft sports an 8.6 second turn time, has decent velocity. As you can see here, we're motoring along at 360 pretty easily with just a little tap of the boost. And the aircraft, while it does have medium altitude performance, does have the ability to get up to those higher altitudes if need be, such as going after maybe a heavy air defense aircraft. We're heading into the middle, which is going to be a highly contested center. And we do have an enemy in a 209 Alpha, which is operating slightly above the altitude regime we typically enjoy, but that doesn't mean that we can't try and close the distance and possibly engage that aircraft anyways. Getting 4 like weapons opposed to what we've seen on some of the earlier versions of the Spitfire make it a lot easier to handle. And as you can see, there's that consistent damage we're looking for. The 209 Alpha is no slouch for being able to operate at these altitudes, as well as maintain his gun power on target. See, we're at nearly 9,000 feet and we're able to maintain control of the aircraft and take that aircraft out, which is one of the reasons a lot of people hate this thing, is that if it's supposed to be a turn fighter, it shouldn't be up here at all. Instead, it is able to power through it and get here. Let's try and get back down to some lower altitudes where this aircraft is supposed to be operating. Gives us a little bit better turn capability, as well as we drop down on this 109 TL jet fighter that is trying to engage our friendly. This is a Tier 8 German premium. And now we're going to come in on this IL-20. Let these guns cool off. Looks like there's 109 Alpha mech engineer still upset about what we did to him a second ago. He does have a very strong cannon in the hub, as well as 2 20s that are synchronized with the propeller. We have to look out. There is a heavy vectored on our position as well, but maintaining the turning fight gives us a little bit of a chance to get away from him. Now we can use that range that we talked about before and that accuracy to be able to get a few more hits on this aircraft. Granted, we aren't actually going to take him out, but he is a bot, so he's going to come back and give us another chance. The speed of this aircraft allows us to be able to stick on him fairly effectively. If he wants to continue to make maneuvers, it allows us to be able to stay on target. We're not really afraid of his tail gunner, and maintaining this center site, the offensive zone, will allow us to be able to continue to capture sites. Now we just engaged 2 pretty nasty customers and we still were able to maintain, and even though we took a bit of damage, we're still going to be a strong competitor. I'm going after the lead ground attacker right here. Reason being is that if I went behind the other one as well, then both of their gunners would have had opportunity to shoot my aircraft, and the German ground attacker is much lower overall health. There is this 109 TL again. Again, he's a speed aircraft. We're going to get low and get underneath this IL-20's guns. Engaging Land Thief again. He's trying to engage in a turn fight with us when his best move would have been to just press out of the area, but now that we've taken his engine, his tail, and his wing, he doesn't have much of a chance, and that allows us to be able to hold on to some more of the capture zone. We're at 57 hit points, but we're going to let that regen. The hit point pool on this aircraft is also very average, which is good because it's a very well balanced platform. These guns do overheat, but they do have good damage as well. So we'll just let them do their work, and they burned out that ground attacker. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if we killed him in the zone or not because they still have quite a bit of this site. They've just captured the zone. It's still valuable to take out this 265 because he is going to go towards one of our other captured sites. TL again. Looks like he's doing the smart thing and getting some distance. Since that is a boom and zoom fighter, I'm actually going to get a little bit of distance from the zone. And if he decides he wants to come back on our aircraft, we should be able to engage him easy enough. He's going to have to come in facing towards the ground. We're able to get some shots on target, and here's where the power of the 20s come in. Even a boom and zoom aircraft has trouble getting away from us. Our team was able to flip the zone. We're going to come in here and give our team a hand against this IL-20, although I'm pretty certain that we're going to have to flip this zone again. But it doesn't mean that this isn't a dangerous threat aircraft. And if we can eliminate this one, then he won't be able to go towards the military facility. Coming in from the side for our attack on the aircraft to minimize times that his tail gunner is going to be on target. Plus, if this were a human player that had spec'd for defensive fire expert on the tail gunner, it would mitigate a lot of the damage we'd be pumping out as well. There we go. Is that the 109 again? No, that's the F2G, but the 109 is here. Seems pretty upset still. Took out the F2G. We really got to pay attention to make sure that that 109 isn't coming back on us. Yep, it looks like he's totally ignoring us. Good speed, 340, 350, 360 with the boost. Let's take out this dangerous threat. Not losing our concentration here. There we go. Bring that engine back online. Ooh, looks like we lost the center. The enemy is getting low on aircraft that are available. We'll make our way to another site and try and flip another zone. I think I'm going to go towards this garrison, because if I go towards the garrison, I may have a chance to get that 109 TL. Looks like the 109 TL is otherwise engaged. A light fighter should be easy enough to knock out. Boost to get through the turn. And that flipped the zone. Now if we want to, we can compete with the mining plant, or sorry, the military facility. But I do see that there is this land thief over here. Oops. All the heavies are down here to try and counter the ground attackers. That means that we're not going to need to climb outside of our altitude zone. There we go. Combined ground fire between two-player aircraft. Not meant to be shooting at ground aircraft, but that allowed us to be able to flip that zone. There's only one aircraft left, and it looks like mechanical engineer is not coming down anytime soon. Or mech engineer. Maybe he's referring to a mecha. So, a lot of people say that this aircraft is heavily overpowered. I think that the real issue is that the aircraft is just so balanced in its capabilities, not balanced like gameplay wise, but balanced in its flight characteristics and gun power, that even in an inexperienced hand, this aircraft will have good results, and in an experienced hands, it's going to do really well. So by nature of that, every time you see a Spit 14, you remember it, you know it's a dangerous aircraft, and you're very wary of it, because even if that player isn't necessarily the best player, anybody can do a hard turn in an aircraft, and with the speed that this aircraft offers and the guns it has available, it's going to be able to, at the very least, give you a rough time, because even that 109 TL on that boom and zoom pass should have been able to take a few pot shots at me. Maybe he misses, maybe he doesn't, and then he just zooms straight through the engagement and then does an up and over and comes back and tries again. But with this Spitfire, I was able to maintain relatively good chase and be able to put some serious hurt on him. So yeah, it's weird, and because it violates a lot of the things that we typically understand about turn fighters. So is it overpowered? Yes, but I see it as being overpowered for different reasons. In the right hands, it's very strong. So let's talk about the grind a little bit. So I like the fact that as soon as you get this aircraft, the guns you unlocked on the Spit 9 actually carry over. Even though you only unlock 220s on the wings, you will get all 4 of them on this airframe. So you don't need to grind at all for that. And then as for the engines, you are going to have to grind all of these engines yourself. However, I haven't really been finding them lacking too much in overall power. Yeah, really the big jump comes from going to between the Griffin 61 and the Griffin 65, these two aircraft, because there's a 500-mile-an-hour difference between the two, or sorry, horsepower between the two, and that's what allows you to be able to give chase that much more effectively. So Spit 14, it's a good overpowered plane. I'm probably going to keep the aircraft in the hangar, but I'm going to strip the pilot out and move him forward to the attacker. Why am I going to do that? Because the Spit 14 isn't exciting to me. And I said it was a really balanced aircraft and, you know, anybody can fly it well. But it kind of reminds me of when I was in Driver's Ed, because in Driver's Ed in the late 90s, early 2000s, the car that almost every driving school used was something called a Ford Taurus, a 4-door mid-size sedan. It was like the best daily driver vehicle you could have. It was, you know, economical, you know, it had decent acceleration, it had decent handling, really great safety rating. It's just a boring car, but it could do everything, so it was a great thing to learn on. And the Spit 14, or the whole Spitfire line, is pretty much the same thing. It's a Ford Taurus. It allows you guys that are especially newer to the game, if you get on the Spitfire line, it's going to be pretty easy to fly these aircraft. You're going to start to understand the basic game mechanics a little bit more because you won't need to focus on flying the plane as much and focus more on the battle space, because I feel like that's even more important than how you necessarily fly your aircraft. You can learn that over time, but understanding how the game works, where to go, when to go to certain places, and keeping an eye on enemy aircraft that are player controlled, those are the real important things. Flying your aircraft, that comes with time and also depends on what your play style is, and you can figure that out eventually. So for that purpose, I do advocate people going down the Ford Taurus line right here, but at the same time, be aware that as you get further along in this line and you do make it to the Tier 9, the Tier 9 attacker is going to have a drastically different flight characteristics, since the maneuverability drops significantly between the two airframes, and as a result you're going to have to learn a different play style. So just be wary of that for those of you that are new to playing World of Warplanes. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video despite the Spitfire being the featured aircraft, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Until it's over.